From Yarm to Yibby, Harrington to Horsley Hill, Swarwell to Silverlink. Steve and Rye, the North East Footy Breakfast.
Right across the North East, the Red, the Toon and the Cat.
Oh, I forgot to play the music, boys. I forgot to play the music, so we'll do a bit of this.
Oh, mate, we're going to hammer this.
Bit of Nathan Doe. There you go, that's it. We're on. Good morning.
Ooh, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Happy post-International Referees Day, which our resident referee completely forgot about.
I missed it. I missed
was one
it.
that we
Play on.
kinda
Didn't see
missed, though,
anything.
right?
Didn't see anything. Play on.
Clearly
I
not
thought we were
worth
going to miss it
remembering.
and then just go to VAR to rewatch it or something,
Yeah, that's
What,
it.
to
exactly.
review the calendar?
Review that's what referees do, don't they? They don't make the decision on the day, so we're not going to, celebrate on the day. It's the day after.
Yeah,
we go back and
you've
VAR
nailed it. Fellas, I was trying to hide the fact that, I didn't want to make a decision, so I was going to leave it to VAR just to see whether it actually was International Referees Day yesterday.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
sadly, VAR failed me. It didn't come on during the show and say, yes, confirmed. It is a free kick to International Referees Day. So, another one slips by. You're
Can I
going to
genuinely ask-
have a field day.
Is it football referees or is it referees in general?
It was just International Referees Day, but, because it is the World Game, we seem to have adopted it as for football referees. So,
I find it strange that we have a day for everything, don't we? Really?
do we have a nose
there
picking
is.
day? Is there an international day for nose picking?
There will probably be one.
I'm sure there will be.
Google it.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, for those who like astronomy, let's have a look. What's it like? Oh, you can still do it. I'm just having a look out the window here across the Eastern Alps. If you look out the window now, beautiful blue sky. There was ice on my windscreen this morning, lads. What the hell's
Was there
going
really?
on? Ice on my windscreen.
Right.
Dave,
But,
April the 23rd is International Nose Picking Day.
Oh,
According to a 1995 study,
my
91% of respondents reported doing it. But reasons for this curious habit vary: discomfort, boredom, a nervous habit, etc. When nose picking is compulsive, it is called rhintilexomania, which accompanies stress or anxiety.
Well, and cases at A&E of nosebleeds go up that day as well, because, some people might just stick it up too far. Why are we talking about nose picking at breakfast? I've got no idea. But I'd just like to point out, if you'd like to
Welcome
look
the
out...
North East Brekky show.
It is, yeah. We talk about everything, including gardening, astronomy, nose picking, anything but football. If anybody in the northern hemisphere just wants to have a quick look out of their window towards the east where the sun is rising, you'll see a beautiful case of a very fine slither of a moon with earthshine and Venus just above it.
Earthshine.
So earthshine is light coming from the sun reflecting off the earth back onto the dark side of the moon. So you actually see the full moon, but you see the very bright crescent and a very faint part of the dark side of the moon, which is light reflecting off the earth. That is your astronomy for the week. There you go.
I think we should. I think
Wow.
we should change International Nose Picking Day, because that's on St George's Day, which of course is our day. So I think we should change that day. I think we should
True.
campaign against it.
Right, we're
On the
riding
Northeast-
now. We're changing
on
it.
the North East Breakfast Show.
Does Australia have a national hero? Do you have a national hero that you celebrate annually, right?
Crocodile Dundee.
Just trying to think. Yeah.
That's
no,
not a
we don't do
knife.
that.
This is a
Yeah.
knife.
Do we have? I don't know. It's not like we have a Hugh Jackman Day or anything like that, I don't think. No, I don't think so. No. We still
Greg
have like
Norman-
the Queen's birthday.
Greg Norman
or, sorry,
Day.
the King's birthday.
We better not mention Captain James Cook. That doesn't go down too well, does it, with the
No,
locals?
that doesn't go. No, that's going. We're currently at the moment going through a vote about that, actually. So,
Really?
I had to go and vote today. Yeah. We're voting whether pretty much about Captain Cook and his, and taking Australia, and whether, if it was appropriate or not. And we had to vote. It was a yes/no vote. We had to go and do
Is
it
it
today.
appropriate
so
or not? I mean, what was the question?
It was so obviously when Captain Cook landed in Australia, he took the land off of Aboriginals.
Yeah,
And
yep.
ever since, Aboriginals, who are the locals and traditional custodians of the land, have never really had a voice here in Australia. So today
Unlike New
we had to
Zealand with the
vote
Maoris.
to give them we had to give for today was a vote to give the Aboriginal people a voice in Parliament. Whether you want yes or no sort of thing. So
right.
yeah,
Okay.
a bit of a conjecture politics there today. So yeah, had to go and vote today. Compulsory for every Australian to get out there. So if you are an Aussie tuning in, remember to vote, because you will get in big trouble if you don't.
I don't know whether you've put the pieces together, right? You probably have, because you're a smart cookie. But, this studio where I'm sitting now is effectively a fraction over a mile away from Captain Cook's birthplace. Do you know that? Did you know that?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
He was born in Middlesbrough.
I knew he was born in Middlesbrough. I knew he came from that area, but I didn't know whereabouts.
He built the Tyne Bridge as well, did he?
He probably did.
Sailed under it, mate, a few times before it was built. Yeah, absolutely.
He probably did.
He probably stood there and looked at it as he was going by, going, "That'd be a great place for the bridge. I'll just give my mates at Dorman Long of Middlesbrough a call to see if they want to stick a bridge there." Yeah, that would be it.
What do you do on Australia Day then? That's in January, isn't it? Right.
Well, that again, Steve. That's getting conjecture. That's obvious. That's part of the whole debate as well, because Australia Day is the day that Captain Cook landed, but now, because we're acknowledging that Aboriginals were the custodians of the land, that the date needs to be moved, because that's the day he came in and, removed it from Aboriginal people. So we're trying to, the vote, a part of that is moving the date of that as well.
Well, the poor fella's copping a bit of flack here, isn't he? I mean, I don't think for one moment he landed at Botany Bay, waded ashore and started saying, "Right, give me this land, I'm taking it off you, move out the way, get away. It wasn't down just to him. I mean, it's a big bloody continent for him to walk around and just remove all the land, mate.
Yeah, but it's still it's a big thing going on at the moment, and it's one thing that Australia's always battled with is the original custodians and Captain Cook's Landing and stuff like that. So
I get it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one at the moment, because we're looking to move Australia Day. We had to vote today about it and stuff, so it's a big issue down here in Australia.
On average, lads, as well, people pick their nose 4 times a day. just
4 times a day.
That's not a bar out. That's not a lot.
Doesn't give it enough time to go crusty, does it?
Oh
no! Oh, okay. True. There goes.
I can't believe it.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow.
I'm looking at the
Don't worry
screen.
about getting in today.
We were discussing before we came on air how difficult it is to do a Northeast Footy Brekky show
without footy
during international week when there's no football.
So I'm in the bottom of the barrel now. We're talking about nose picking and Captain Cook.
We're not scraping the barrel. We're scraping the undercarriage of your nose, right?
I can see the headlines in the papers now. Oh no, Footy show
we're going viral.
Descends into absolute carnage. Yeah, I can see it now. Hey, fellas, you'll be proud of me. Came into the office this morning, and the boys who work for me downstairs, they left me a present on my desk, and I am going through. It was a Boston cream donut in a box, perfectly positioned where I sit. And nice kind gesture for them, but I am going through a bit of a healthy eating phase at the moment, trying to lose a bit of weight, eat healthily, keep myself, get myself into trim, and it only took me 30 seconds to polish it off. So there you go. You'll be proud of me. I tell you, mate, that is my vice.
Very proud.
Food is my vice. If the wife, I might have just eaten. If the wife says, "Do you want something else?" I just can't help but say yes. Oh dear.
I'm just walking around the house now, going, "How's the bacon?" Trying to drop the hint that I want bacon on everything. So that's my sort of current trend now. I just feel like bacon randomly all the time.
How old is your little one? How old is she?
So my daughter is 5.
Old enough to cook your bacon sandwich, mate. Old enough to cook your bacon sandwich. Yep.
And it is. I have to do a big shout out, lads. It's my wife's birthday today. We've had the day for my wife. It is my wife's birthday, so big shout out to Mrs. Rye, aka Wake the wife, or from the 2 a.m. wake up calls, fellow lover of Riley McGree and the borough. To my wife, happy birthday to you, my love. So, it was the wife's birthday.
Are we ever going to get the good lady to the microphone?
Well, we might have to one day. We might have to.
Does she like football?
Sure. No. We've been watching the Beckham documentary, and she's been right into that, and been. But I think it's more for the posh spice side of things. She understands. She understands like how big Middlesbrough is for me and stuff like that, and all the. I'm talking to Riley McGree and all that sort of stuff, and she's just, shocked by, that people just don't tell me to shut up instead of, and keep bringing me into things. So, but yeah, no, she doesn't really like football, no, but she's very supportive, that's for sure.
Okay, lads, I have, as instructed, I've done my homework. I've been watching the Beckham documentary.
Oh, good man, I finished
it.
I finished it last night.
How many episodes? Is there 4 episodes?
Yeah.
4. Right, so I've only watched 3, so I've missed the 4th. I'm
halfway through. I'm halfway through episode 3, which is entitled Golden Balls.
Yeah.
So, overall, lads, I haven't changed my opinion of David Beckham yet. I've got to be honest. Credit to the documentary makers. I think it's a great way of doing it. I presume they must be American because the guy who keeps talking off camera is an American guy. Listen, I get where you're coming from. I get why there's a lot of excitement around it because I do whether you like the person or whether you like the team or not. These football documentaries, as we've discussed on the show before, they are good if you're a football fan, and it's certainly whiled away a couple of hours during the international break. I love the old footage. I love the interviews with some of the people. I was disgusted to see Steve Bruce on there. Why I had to see how's the bacon on there? I really don't know. Yes, he scored that. He's living off that goal in this documentary, the goal that won the league.
I would, mate, if I was him. I'd live off it as well. Come on. But
listen, I'm not gonna be converted into a Beckham fan. I still haven't changed my mind. But I enjoyed it. I love the fact that his dad's the star of the show for me. And his dad he kept is it something like 1,400 games at that level when he was a kid. I mean, literally, he's videoed most of his games, and some of the footage of Beckham as a kid is remarkable. It really is. I mean, he is some player. And I got exactly where you were coming from when you were talking about the hatred that he got after the Simeone incident, where he kicked Simeone against Argentina in the World Cup and got sent off. That was. I forgot how volatile that was, and I forgot how at every ground he went to in the Premier League, season after season for about 2 years, he was booed, he was vilified, he was, every touch was booed. Now, that happens anyway with players who are good and creative and who can do you damage, but he really got it in the neck. That's the worst I can remember, and I'd forgotten how bad that was, and it was getting to the point where there was bullets being sent in the post, etc. It was absolutely mental, absolutely mental. But I did enjoy Simeone's interview on there as well. I won't spoil it.
And the smirking and the smiling behind everything he said.
Mate. And just the question is, I should get you to act in my next movie, and he just laughs like,
But at least I thought he was honest, wasn't he? He was honest.
He was, Yeah.
He didn't lie. He said that's it's game management, isn't it? That's what it is.
Yeah.
But he basically told the truth, and I appreciated him for that. And I mean, Argentina have always been cast as they're like the new villains, aren't they? Over the years, since the Falklands War back in the 80s, it was always Germany and England. Now it's Argentina and Maradona and the hand of God and all that. But Simeone, great man. He's a great
I've got a quick question. Why do we always pick the world champions to go against?
I know.
Yeah.
Germany and Argentina. Could you think of two worse teams to have a rivalry with? Sorry, Steve.
Yeah. No, you're right though. You're right. And from our perspective, we always seem to come a cropper against these teams as well. But I overall, so far, so good. I did fear that there was going to be a bit too much about the Spice Girls and Victoria, but they don't go overkill on all of that. The relationship is. It looks like a normal relationship if I'm perfectly honest, and when you go back to the way they used to be, do you remember? I mean, there is a little clip on episode 3 which you'll have both seen where he's sitting in the house and she's pottering around, and I wear the pants in this relationship, and I was just like, it just looks so fake. Whereas the stuff that they do on this documentary now is a lot different. They have changed, and even they recognise the difference in them, 25, 30 years ago or whatever it was, and it's worth watching. So football fans who maybe were put off by me saying, I wouldn't watch that because it's David Beckham, blah blah blah, and if you're in that kind of mindset, it's worth watching. Give it a watch. Netflix and the guys who've made it have done a cracking job. The other thing I loved, and this is from a professional perspective because I obviously do documentaries and stuff, is the fact that they're showing the footage. They've got the interviewee looking straight down the camera.
Yeah, how clever is that?
As the footage is playing directly either in front or behind the camera.
I like that as well. Yeah.
you've got Alex Ferguson, you've got Beckham, you've got all of these ex-players who played in these particular games looking straight down the camera. So you're capturing that emotion as they clearly haven't been told what they're going to be shown, and there's a genuine reaction straight away of a smile, a warm smile about a particular game like the European Champions League win, the 2-1 win with the Fergie time win, and it is enjoyable. There's a few goals going in against Newcastle as well, which of course they always have to show, because whether they like it or not, they know that we are their bitter rivals, Manchester United.
Conspiracy alert!
Yeah. But it's it's worth a watch, lads. It's worth a watch.
And I'll tell you what, Steve. On episode 4, you'll see more of these famous faces looking directly down the barrel of the camera. So a lot more familiar faces to come in the last episode.
I like Keno as well, where because obviously they were talking about him where he was getting some stick, and he just goes, what they have to remember is there's hard men on his team as well.
Yeah,
you just get this.
They go up. Yeah,
you get this typical Roy Keane moment where he's gesticulating towards somebody. You never actually flattened anybody on the pitch, though, Roy. Just remember that. And you were scared of Shearer. You were scared of Shearer at the Gallagher end. Shearer stood up against you, didn't flinch. And where were you then? So but it was all good stuff. It was all good stuff. Well worth a watch. Not in my top 3.
Newcastle got a bit of a footage there as well. Unfortunately, though, obviously showing the trouble.
Always.
But
always. Yeah, that FA Cup final. I don't remember much about that, right? I remember drinking copious amounts of lager. Copious amounts of lager, which in the northeast is known as anaesthetic, and basically, especially at a cup final. And I remember standing there. It must have been about 27, 28 degrees, burning me napper off, and basically watching as Manchester United just, went through the motions and then took us apart. And Steve Harper in that particular game looked as if he'd gone down in slow motion when that goal went in. I mean, and it doesn't look any quick. It doesn't look any quicker when you're watching it again there. But we just never, those 2 cup finals. Although the run was great, the 2 semis were the best days of my Newcastle United supporting life. Being in 2 semi-finals at Old Trafford, the stand moving with Newcastle fans jumping up and down and celebrating. But then, to get to Wembley and to perform as we did against the 2, the double winners and the treble winners was just so disappointing. We just didn't turn up, and a similar disappointment last year in the Carabao Cup. Newcastle turning up in all the games and then getting to the final. And although we played better in the Carabao Cup final last year, the end result was still the same. And when you get beaten in a cup final, you might as well not have been there. That's how disappointing it is. But hey,
it's incredible to see a young Ruud Gullit leading the team out. Because they just don't do that anymore.
He didn't look happy. He didn't look happy.
He didn't. No, he looked angry. Yeah, he looked angry. But yeah, it was just for me, it was a bygone era of the 2 managers walking out in front of the players, because they don't do that anymore. We just have the players walk straight out the tunnel. Managers are already on the sideline. But it's good to see. It was when Ruud Gullit and Alex Ferguson were leading them out, and just some of those old names as well. Seeing a young Shay Given on the bench for Newcastle was incredible. I mean, I remember Shay Given being incredible. Gary Speed as well. Obviously, he's passed now, and
Speedo.
You get to see the young Gary Speed and Dietmar Hamann as well. What a name throwback that was when I saw him running around as well. So it was good. It was good and that's what I love about the documentary. It just brings back memories for me, and I've been really enjoying it. Really enjoying it. Felt like a Newcastle Brown now after you walked out as well. It's seen about 13 times on your shirts. So
those shirts. Those shirts were class, mate. They really were. That was the day. The Blue Star, the Brown Ale, and all of that was like it was a wonderful sponsor, wonderful time, wonderful shirts. But that whole era under Hullett was an absolute mess. And I mean, you're saying Shay Given on the bench and Speedo and people like that. He just didn't have any respect for the blue chip brigade. You know what I mean? Because I think it was almost like the fact that he was too close in age to those guys. You know what I mean? There was no respect.
He was young.
For them.
He was very young.
He was young, and he's arrogant though, very arrogant, and just didn't get the whole Newcastle thing. And unlike Eddie Howe, who moved his family up here, to live here and be part of it. Hullett was transporting himself backwards and forwards from.
He just lived in the Malmaison, didn't he?
Yeah.
Do you think that point there, just to jump in, do you think that makes a big difference if a manager coach, whatever it may be, doesn't move their family to where they're coaching. Because I'm going to put this out there. Michael Carrick hasn't. Michael Carrick's family is still down in Manchester. So as far as I'm aware, and it's been asked only as a couple of press conferences ago, and it shocked me still that obviously he's now almost 12 months into his contract with Middlesbrough, that his family is still down in Manchester, and that he takes the opportunity when he can to get back down to Manchester to spend time with his wife and kids and stuff. So it kind of shocks me that, when you become a head coach, that you wouldn't move everyone up. And maybe he has now. I could be wrong, but as far as I was aware from 2-3 press conferences ago, that his family is still, long distance away. And then you say to me, like, obviously Eddie Howe's moved to everything up to Newcastle. That because it always, shock me, because I'm a family man, wife and kids. I don't think I could go in and work at Middlesbrough every day without having them, back at home. I don't know if I'm going home to an empty hotel or wherever Michael does, but surely it's got to play some part of it.
It depends how old. I don't know how old Michael Carrick's kids are. Maybe that's a determining factor. I'm the typical Teessider who's migrated many times for work. Went to the US once, went to Singapore twice, and the family always came with me. But there was one spell where I was in Singapore, and there was a buyout of the company, and it was looking like I was going to be allowed to leave early. So sent the family back. They came back to Teesside. The wife got the kids into school. It was a January, halfway through the school year, perfect time to get them back into school. And then the situation changed, and I was 12 months apart. And I tell you what, it was hard. It was hard to be apart from the family for 12 months. Now, we are talking an 8-hour time difference. We are talking about jumping on a plane and having to fly for, I can't remember how long, 14 hours or something to get back, where Carrick can jump in a car and be home in 2 hours. So there's a big difference. But I suppose it depends on how old the kids are and all that sort of stuff. And the mere fact he's only a couple of hours away.
Yeah. I do think it is important for football managers to be just to be happy in their personal life. It's the same as footballers, you know what I mean? And getting them to the northeast and being there for them. I mean, look at Eddie Howe. What he does is he goes away from St James's, goes away from the training ground at Benton, and he goes straight home. He spends time with his family. He sounds very methodical. He watches the games back. He does this. He does his job. But his downtime is going to watch the kids play football. The lads love the area. They're playing for a local football team, and he goes out and watches them. And that's where that's Eddie Howe's escapism, is to go and watch the kids. And he says, his press conference before the games last weekend was the press now would go, so what was the kids' opinion of the PSG game? He says, well, they said very little. He says, if there's something to criticise, they've got a lot to say. He says, but they said very little about that. He says they just wanted to go out back. He says they just wanted to go out in the garden and recreate the goals they'd seen scored the previous night. That's lovely, what I mean. And for Eddie Howe, that must give him tremendous peace of mind. That he can just, he can go home and he can be in that family bubble. And a lot of times, because the kids are young, old enough to appreciate football and know what it's all about. But when he goes home, he's going into that little bubble, and I think it is important.
I mean, they were showing a lot as well in that documentary about how Posh was starting to come to the games and the chants were coming out and stuff like that. Like, you must be, as a manager as well, quite protective of your family. I mean, I'm guessing that, wife and kids would probably come to most games to watch, I don't know if they would to watch, your dad or, your husband be the manager. So it must be a different sort of world there. Obviously, Carrick playing days, your wife and kids would be there to watch your dad play. But as a manager, do your wife and kids keep coming to watch you manage? They've been doing it all your life while you've been playing, in Carrick's case.
It's going to be a bit boring, isn't it? Watching him sitting on the bench. Yeah. Oh, Dad stood on his feet. Yeah, okay, then he sat back down again.
Dad's yelling at him again. So it might be a bit different. So it'll be interesting there. But obviously family's really important, obviously, to all the lads. And, it was evident, again, just wrapping up it on that documentary, what effect Posh had on Beckham, when there was chants going on about Posh, how it affected, Beckham on the pitch or off the pitch sort of thing. So yeah, it's incredible. I don't know, it just gave me a bit more sort of human side to Becks, and just that, that he, because I always thought he was just immune to it all, but clearly not. Clearly was getting to him.
I like to think I've got a thumb on football, world football, and I'm going to make an embarrassing admission here. I had forgotten completely, and it's not a spoiler alert for the 4th episode because I'm sure you guys are right on top of Bex's career, even if you don't follow him. I'd forgotten completely he moved to PSG.
Yeah. Yep.
I had completely forgotten he'd gone to PSG.
Yep. Yeah, no, it was incredible. Yeah, it was, because obviously it was the LA Galaxy move, the Real Madrid and PSG as well. Yeah, so he did go.
And the AC Milan loan.
I remember him crying when
the AC Milan loan in between as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd forgotten the latter stages of his career because he wasn't in English football anymore. He was still in the England squad, but he was scrapping with Capello to whether he should play or he shouldn't. So it was all that. So I'd forgotten the last couple of years of his playing career. And I'm watching this and I'm going, oh yeah. So it is worth a watch. It is worth a watch.
Should have come to the Borough, Bex.
Hey, I just love that line. I mean, we're off on another tangent here, but I just love that line. That came out of Ian Murtagh's show about a month ago when he had the Sunderland statistician and historian on, and Diego Maradona wanted to sign for Sunderland when he was a 19-year-old.
Wild, isn't it?
Is that true? Yeah,
it is true. Apparently, it is true. He went on strike in Argentina because the club just went, "No, you're not going there. You're not going there." And he just wanted to come to English football, and it was Sunderland who had done the deal. And so he went on strike and said, "If you don't let me go to Sunderland, I'm never going to play again." Which he backed down pretty quickly. But could you imagine?
As you would.
Can you imagine if we had Ted on this morning and he starts waxing lyrical about, "Well, we could attract Diego Maradona, you couldn't." Yeah, indeed.
That actually sounds exactly like Ted as well, which is wild as well. So I felt like he was here. Incredible though. And does Mogga live in the Borough or is he up in Sunderland?
He does live in the Borough, but it's a 30-mile drive, isn't it? So
I know it is. Yeah. So his family, he's still set up in Middlesbrough then, obviously. So we've wrapped up where all the coaches live. There you go, Northeast Brekky fans. We got Mogga in Middlesbrough. Carrick, I don't know. I'd love to get to the bottom of that, of where he actually is staying and where he's living, obviously, if his family is still back in Manchester. So, and then obviously Eddie Howe has moved up his family up into Newcastle. So, come on, Carrick, what are you doing?
Yeah, and the next episode of the Northeast Tourism Award will indeed. Yes.
Should we get into some football, lads? Should we talk about football? Because there has been a few stories that have come in. We have got some headlines. I have worked my little Aussie bum off to get us some international break stories. And obviously, we've got the big one with Socceroos coming up against England on Friday night, where the Socceroos is going to demolish England quite easily, just push them to the side like we did the Ashes. Kieran Trippier is going to be absolutely amazed that Sammy Silvera is only in the Championship. And he's going to be right on the phone to Eddie saying, get him signed in January because he's going to destroy that left wing, is Sammy Silvera. But in the Championship news,
taking a spot in shooting for a friendly.
It was confirmed overnight.
And the Ashes was a draw.
No. The weather won the Ashes.
The weather won the Ashes.
You're lucky, I tell you.
Yeah,
Wayne Rooney has been appointed as Birmingham manager, so I was confirmed. Our thoughts, we did believe the rumours and stuff like that, but obviously we reported yesterday that John Eustace was sacked as Birmingham manager, and it was highly reported that Wayne Rooney was going to come in, and it was confirmed yesterday by Birmingham that Wayne Rooney has come in as coach of a Birmingham City Football Club. And what is more intriguing, guys, and I want to get your feedback on this, is that John Eustace, the manager that's made parted way for Wayne to come in, actually has known about this for months, apparently. He's known about it for months, and he's been sitting on the news, and he asked if he could continue anyway. So instead of walking out and saying, you're getting Wayne Rooney in, and the club apparently told him months ago that they're going to get him as soon as that he wrapped up with DC United, that they was going to get him, and John just said, I'm happy to continue.
Hats off.
Is that fair at all on John? I mean, the way it's all been handled, do you think there is any sort of anger there from John towards the club, or do you think that they've just been open and honest with him and he's just said, look, I'm happy to continue?
I'm sure the conversation involved a healthy payoff and everything else. So we've seen something similar before. Look, I don't want to go off on a tangent, but Lenny Lawrence was charged with the task of bringing Brian Robson into Middlesbrough to replace him. So Lenny was helping the club bring Brian Robson in as manager, knowing that obviously he would depart. So we have seen it before. But look, I'll take my hat off to Eustace. You know, he knew this was coming on. The club have told him. He said, "Well, you haven't got him yet, so let me hang around a bit. Let me carry on." But I'm sure the conversation was along the lines of, "We'll pay you out. There's going to be a nice payoff there as well, mate." And thanks for your help. So look, I'll take my hat off to him, because it would be so easy to spit the dummy out and just walk away, wouldn't it?
Yes, I think it would be. Steve, do you think it's fair on John?
Nah, it's not at all. But this is football, isn't it? It's there's no friends in football, and Birmingham's owners have just decided to go for the big name, haven't they? They've gone for somebody who, you know, in world football is renowned, but somebody who isn't renowned for having a great managerial career yet. I mean, he could go on to be the best manager that Birmingham have ever had, but he could also be the biggest flop, and they could end up with egg on their face, and John Eustace can be, you know, sitting there with a big payoff, smiling. Yeah, exactly. And I just think it's bad to see, for football managers who may fancy a job in the future at Birmingham. You know, this is how you can be treated. You can get yourself into 6th place, go on an unbeaten run, and you can still be sacked. I mean, what does that say? I mean, managers getting sacked usually is for bad performances and you know, being at the bottom of the table, and but not for performing well. It leaves a sour taste in the mouth, and it does, yeah. I think the only people who are going to suffer from this are Birmingham Football Club, and it's not the first time they've been in turmoil. Let's face it, one of our three legends, Lee Clark, he went to Birmingham. I think probably one of the biggest jobs that he'd taken in that time. He gets there, and within a few days, his owner is locked up, and he has to start selling his best players, and I mean that turned into a nightmare. And Clarkey gets some unjust stick down at Birmingham, for that particular stage in his career from the Birmingham fans. But it's not fair on Clark. He took the job in good faith, but it wasn't what it said on the tin. And I just think Birmingham have got a history of doing this over the last 20 years, and it just leaves a sour taste in the mouth for me. But I'm sure, as I said the other day, John Eustace will go on. He'll lick his wounds. And
I agree.
I'm sure he'll have plenty clubs in and around that kind of division looking at him and saying, right, John Eustace could be the man for us, because of the way that he's handled himself as well. And I know the League Managers Association,
there's a long way.
They come out, don't they? And they come out and make the statement. They'll form the statement with the manager, and there'll be something put out by Eustace. I'm not sure if anything's out there already. Yeah. But Eustace will come out and he'll have his say. But he's been very dignified, done everything right, and that's another bonus and another tick in the box for him.
I'm not sure he'll have his say as he would want to, because if this has been agreed over a period of time, I'm sure there'll be something written down that says
you probably can't say anything.
Yeah, exactly. There'll be some sort of NDA or something. So it'll be carefully crafted. The lines that come out of Eustace's mouth will be carefully crafted, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. You guys expecting Wayne Rooney to do much at Birmingham? Because I personally, I was looking at the Birmingham responses, and obviously just having a cheeky look on social media, and the Birmingham fans are pretty irate. I would say the majority are pretty upset that John's been treated the way he has, and that they've not really got much faith in what Wayne can bring in. And I got to be honest with them. I agree with the Birmingham fans. I don't think Wayne's going to come in and set the world alight. I mean, he's got to come up against the mighty Borough in his first game as well. And we all know Borough are going to win that 8-1.
Indeed.
You know what I mean? Yep. So against, Wayne Rooney v. Michael Carrick, he's got the brains there, don't you? Do you know what I mean? So it's for me, it's I don't know. I just feel like if you're going for this if Birmingham said, right, we want this high profile manager, and Wayne Rooney, who's going to bring, Birmingham onto the main stage. What if it fails? I don't see Wayne Rooney as DC United. He obviously was, he's done MLS. He had Derby before that. He didn't really set the world alight for me as a manager.
He hasn't. And spoiler alert. Florentino Perez, when he was interviewed in that part for the Beckham documentary, was asked. He said, "You've got Luis Figo. Why are you bringing David Beckham in?" And he went, "Because I can triple my revenue." That was it. Bang. That was his answer. And that's why Birmingham have brought Wayne Rooney in. They see him as a big name. They see him as a bigger name than John Eustace. They just see this Rooney impact in terms of positioning the club. I don't see how Wayne Rooney would bring revenue in along the lines of the real big names of football. But I think it's a commercial decision why they've brought Wayne Rooney in.
There might be an older crowd gets in, a lot of grannies and that.
Well, I was going to say that, they could increase those OAP ticket sales.
Do you think there's pure Wayne Rooney fans out there that are now Birmingham supporters because Wayne's gone to the club?
God, no.
Are there any Wayne Rooney fans out there? Really? Come on.
That's what I'm struggling to believe. Okay, so yes, he's a big name, but in America, he's obviously the manager of DC United. Maybe DC United fans are now saying, well, I'm going to support Birmingham now. At what point do they
do you think there's
like
groups of like people wandering around like looking for Wayne Rooney?
What
do you call a group of Wayne Rooney fans?
A saga coach holiday. That's what you call them.
That's what I'm saying. They wanted to grow the interest of Birmingham by getting a big name manager. What are they growing? That's what I don't get.
What are they smoking?
You don't wake up today and go, what? Wayne Rooney's at Birmingham. That's it. Catch your bar, I'm out.
Isn't that the place where the local council's gone into receivership?
Well, Birmingham City Council.
I don't know. Is it? There's some council gone bust, isn't there?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I remember reading something like that.
They've all lost their minds. They've lost their minds.
They're on something. They're on something. Yeah. Because if I was a Borough fan and Steve McLaren said, we're letting Michael Carrick go because we're bringing Wayne Rooney in, I'd be up in arms.
Oh, mate, I'd be on the plane. I'd be on the plane quicker. I joke about getting on the plane, but I'd literally be on the plane. I'd be off flying straight over. There's no way. Yeah, it's incredible for me. And it's one to watch here on the Northeast Brekky Show, I think.
It is bankrupt.
Over the next couple of months.
Birmingham City Council is bankrupt.
It is, yeah. There
you go.
£760 million bill to settle equal pay claims. So maybe they're going to have Wayne Rooney going round like doing other jobs in Birmingham.
Yeah, leading social services, care for the elderly.
Well, something like that. It's the strange. The one set of fans that'll be laughing are Aston Villa.
Oh, they'll be loving it.
Oh yeah,
they'll be loving it.
They will be. Yeah, they'll be quite happy to watch the club go down under Wayne Rooney, that's for sure. So, one to watch there from the Northeast Brekky Show, obviously. But we do have to focus in on the Northeast Brekky
Just before you focus, I've got my crystal ball out and my rye wig on. I am Mystic Dave this morning. I am predicting that Birmingham City will get rid of Wayne Rooney within 9 months. There you go.
9 months.
Okay. It'd be surprising if he lasts longer than that. I've got to be perfectly.
I'm going to say a year.
I did say yesterday, but somebody laughed at me, so I was embarrassed to say that long.
Another interesting fact for you lads as well. Stephen Gates, in his book Gastronaut, discusses eating dried nasal mucus and says that 44% of people he questions said that they'd eaten their own dried nasal mucus in adulthood. So 44% of us eat it, lads.
Oh, come on, man. Come on.
All right, Ryan, over to you.
I've had a coffee and a donut this morning.
Oh, mate, I just had a sip of my coffee and it's come back up. I'm gagging on the radio now. My goodness me. Well, lads, the September nominations. The September nominations for the Sky Bet Championship Man of the Month are in. And Mackems, you have got plenty of presents here. Tony Mowbray is up for Manager of the Month for September, despite getting beaten in their last game 4-0 against a certain club. Don't know what that... Oh, that's right, it was the Borough.
Fly me to the moon.
But Moga is up for Sky Bet Manager of the Month for September, but he has got some stiff competition in Errol Bullitt from Cardiff City, Kieran McKenna from Ipswich Town. Honestly, Ipswich Town are a gem of a story. Kieran McKenna is going to win that manager.
Hang on.
And Liam Rosenoir from Hull City is also up for that manager's award. So he's got Errol Bullitt, I apologise, Kieran McKenna, obviously Mulga from Sunderland, and Liam Rosenoir at Hull is his competition.
But no Michael Carrick.
No, Michael Carrick.
But we beat Sunderland and we beat Cardiff.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Dave. Thank you so much. I love that you clicked on, because I was going to say this month of September has been one of the biggest turnarounds for us in coming from literally last at the table to back up to 16th. We've taken 12 points in 3-4 games. He's been overlooked. But that's another story.
I vote for independence.
The September nominations also in for Sky Bet Player of the Month, and they go to Finn Azaz from Plymouth, Jack Clark, the Sunderland winger that Tommy Smith had in his pocket on the weekend.
Was quiet.
Liam Lindsay from Preston, and Steffi Mavadidi from Leicester as well. So Jack Clark up there for a player of the month, Mogga up there for manager of the month for Sunderland and Mackem fans. So will Mogga or Jack Clark? I think Jack Clark's in with a shout. I think he's had a good start to the season.
7 in 12 he scored.
I don't think Mogga's going to be able to take it. Yeah, I don't think Mogga will take it off McKenna.
Yeah, look, for me, it's Jack Clark with the players, and I would actually give Mogga a wink for that one. I just think he's done a cracking job, despite the fact he couldn't handle the mighty Middlesbrough.
Maybe he goes down for the October one, because I guess the past 2 games have been in October.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So if this is the September manager of the month as well, because
we'll get off to a flyer against Birmingham.
Yeah, it's Wayne Rooney's team, mate. Of course we will.
Gotta beat them.
Yeah, easily. If we don't beat Birmingham City, I'll do the radio show in my Speedos.
Mind you, there's an interesting line about Wayne, because I was doing some work with Steve McLaren before he went back to Manchester United, and we were talking on a regular basis about the work he was doing at Derby County with Wayne Rooney.
Yep.
And he said that Wayne had realised at the end of that first season that he had a lot of learning to do, that he just wasn't cutting the mustard as a manager. So apparently in the summer he really got his head down and he started doing a lot of learning, talking to coaches, going in to see other sessions and all that sort of stuff. And McLaren actually came out at the start of the following season while he was still helping Derby, and he said Wayne Rooney has improved massively as a head coach, as a manager, because he just thought his playing career, before that he thought his playing career would just carry him through and he'd be able to just adapt that and put it into practice, but realised he was falling short in many areas. So might be an interesting one, to see what Rooney can do. But again, even despite that, where have you seen success following Wayne Rooney around? You just haven't, have you? You just haven't.
He's in the early part of his career, lads. That's the bottom line.
He's quite young, yeah.
He is in the early part of his career. This could be the job that turns him around. On the flip side, it could be a different. After Middlesbrough beating him, of course.
Yeah, of course. Well said, Steve. Yeah, well said. We like that. We like that, man.
Well said.
Yeah.
You can come over for dinner tonight, Steve. You're back on the dinners list, all right?
Oh, thanks, mate. Thanks. Good stuff.
Speaking of people that have sought advice, lads, I want to get your thoughts on this. Harry Maguire has sought advice from David Beckham about being the scapegoat and how he is dealing with it. Maguire has obviously been the carrier of the boos ever since those that have seen the David Beckham documentary. The David Beckham, quite used to the boos after that World Cup kick.
And we're talking BOOS, not BOOZE. Yes.
No, we're talking boo. And obviously Harry Maguire gets it at club level, gets it at international level, but still obviously trying to represent his country as best he can. And he's obviously turned to David Beckham, and David Beckham is giving him some career advice, which we aren't allowed to know what it is, as Harry said, but he's happy to say that he did lean on Beckham and that Beckham has been able to help him be able to deal with being the scapegoat. Lads, do you think Harry will ever get past being the boo boy?
Yeah. Of course he will. He's definitely going to get past it. He's that'll come either with progressing at Manchester United and proving Ten Hag wrong and Manchester United going on to win something this season, or it'll come with a move to another club and him going on to do well there. I mean, the one thing that's been constant in Harry Maguire's life is England. He's been constantly picked by Gareth Southgate at international level, which proves that, despite the fact that he's not getting a regular run out for his club, that the country still rate him. So that in itself puts him in good stead, I think, for the future. He's getting some stick off his own fans, which I've got to be honest, when you look at that Beckham documentary and you see how in one particular game Manchester United fans almost in unison got behind David Beckham,
rallied around him,
and rallied around him and backed him up. That the same set of fans 20 odd years later would round and turn on one of their own for no good reason, really. So it's strange. I mean, we've had Manchester United fan on this show, and he supports Maguire. He likes Maguire. Doesn't understand where this animosity comes from, but I guess it's just because a lot of the stuff that has been played out about maybe his contract and stuff has hit the newspapers. There's two sides to every story. And some people might be saying that he's greedy, and maybe that's where the animosity comes from with some of the Man U fans. But at the end of the day, when he pulls on a red shirt and he steps across the white line and plays for Manchester United, there's no reason for booing him. Have your opinion in the pub, have your opinion down the outside the ground, but booing an own player, I just don't understand that. I've never understood it. It doesn't get you anywhere, and it certainly doesn't change a manager's perception or mind on a particular player. But I think he'll get through it. I think he will get over it, and he'll move on. And he had problems off the pitch, as we know. He had a well publicised holiday from hell, which again, I'm still not even sure if that was resolved. But with it being in a foreign country, that could drag on and on. And I think that in itself probably set him on a path of self-destruction, and he's got off it. He's managed to turn himself around, and he will bounce back from this. I genuinely do think he'll bounce back, and he's not somebody that I would say I wouldn't dislike him coming if he came to Newcastle in the summer, for example. If Newcastle signed Harry Maguire in the summer, I would support him like I support every player in a black and white shirt. It wouldn't be my first choice, I've got to be perfectly honest. But if he came, would I be disappointed? No, I wouldn't. But I do know a lot of Newcastle fans out there who, have made their point of view quite clear. They wouldn't want him. A lot of people think he's another version of Harry Maguire's another version of Titus Bramble, who he's got a mistake in him. But haven't all centre halves got a mistake in them?
Yeah, exactly.
I've seen Sven Botman make a few ricks. I've seen Fabian Schär drop a few claggers. I've seen Dan Burn when he's playing centre half, misplace a pass or get turned. So it does happen, and it happens to everybody. I just think sometimes, because of the world we live in, because of the the cameras etc. that are on the footballers 24/7 during the game, and because of social media, I think sometimes a lot of these things get blown out of proportion. But Harry Maguire, he'll bounce back.
I think there's one other thing that's strengthening his resolve, and that's 150 grand a week going into the bank account. So I'm sure that's strengthening the resolve somewhat. But it's interesting because Maguire himself is saying he's happy with his performances. And what he's highlighting is, his last 15, 20 games for club and country, and he just points to the stats and say, look at the win percentages from club and country when I've started and I've played in those games. I might make the odd rick, but we're actually winning a higher percentage of games when I play than when I'm not, and that's what his that's what his defence is at the moment.
Yeah, well, it's interesting as well to hear, because he spoke about that. He's been asked about getting England chances and obviously not getting a look in down at Man United. And his response, I thought, was quite powerful for once, which, I don't think he's ever really spoken like this before, but I'll read what he said. So he said, I'm not going to sit there all my life and play once a month. If it carries on, I'm sure myself and the club will have to sit down, have a chat about things. He said, it's not my decision whether I start the next game for United or not. Of course, in a couple of weeks, I'll go back and find out. Right now, I'm just happy to be, representing my country, knowing that I've got a big job to do over the next couple of weeks. I do have belief in my ability though, but it has been tough. I want to play games and feel important and wanted by a club.
Suppose when he's looking at what's happening with Jadon Sancho, he doesn't want to go. He doesn't want to go down the same slippery slope by criticising Ten Hag, does he?
Exactly. And then he goes, just to finalise, he says, and then at the moment, I haven't been playing anywhere near as much as I would have liked. That's the bottom line. So, I mean, Ten Hag's got some, he's got some big, decisions to make come January, and probably one of the biggest in the Premier League, I would argue.
That's if he's still there.
Like Yeah, I mean, I don't think he will be, but I mean, if he is in charge of Man United come January, which we're only 2 months away now, which is scary. That he's going to have to deal with Jadon Sancho. He's going to have to deal with Harry Maguire. He's going to have to deal with Anthony. He's going to have to deal with the Mason Greenwood stuff's going to come back at him at some point.
You've got people walking away from the club now, haven't you?
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
Got, Man United's staff. There's a couple of Man United staff.
That's wild, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a strange one to see, people walking away from it. But obviously, there is problems behind the scenes still at Manchester United, and that is, that's not conducive to a good season, and that's what you've got, Ten Hag battling against. He's not only battling with characters in the dressing room, but he's also battling with those players, and with the people behind the scenes. I'm just trying to find out who it is who is left, because we shared
it was
this
interesting
in the
as well.
WhatsApp.
Oh, it was interesting for me as well. To obviously, again, going back to the Beck's documentary, is seeing how well Sir Alex had all the staff members of Man United, clicking, and he was respecting. We saw the kit man. We saw, the lovely old lady who used to be the secretary. You know what I mean? She used to get the mail sorted out for the lads, and Sir Alex was so connected with everyone at that club, right down to the kit man or the grass boy or whatever it may be, sort of thing. It looks to me that Ten Hag doesn't have that at Man United, not even in one instance, because you see these staff members going, well, if that's the decision you're going to do, then I'm leaving as a staff member. So there's so much, and again, Man United, one of the biggest clubs in the world because of, media wise, it smells toxic, doesn't it? Right down to its core, and something big's got to change. And I think, unfortunately, that's Ten Hag. Not unfortunately, I think catch your Ten Hag. I mean, I don't really. Doesn't bother me, you know what I mean? As long as you don't take Michael Carrick, Man United, that's hands off. That's all you need to worry about. That's when I'll have a problem with this.
Maguire's come out and supported Ten Hag, so clearly the relationship between him and Ten Hag is improved. Is on the repair,
yeah.
But I guess he came out clearly.
Yeah, he's clearly upset that he's not getting games, because he came out yesterday. So, yeah, and said that, obviously at the moment I haven't been playing anywhere near as much as I'd like, and that's the bottom line. So I don't think that's a dig at Ten Hag, but it's a dig at, it's a dig at the selection committee and whoever it is that, puts the team out there. So he's not happy that he's not getting enough games. So, the buck's got to stop at some point where, if you want to keep representing your country, then you're going to need to start playing at club level, excuse me.
I'll tell you where this story came from regarding the staff leaving, Steve. It was last month. The chief exec, Richard Arnold, held an all-staff meeting at the club. They employ around about 1,000 people at Manchester United, and during that open session, he was grilled extensively about the club's handling of Greenwood and Anthony situations, and then a number of staff have since come out and spoken publicly to say they're leaving and looking for employment. But the club, the club's fighting back, saying we employ around about 1,000 people. We get a regular turnover of staff, and we haven't seen a spike in people leaving. But it's just people voicing their concerns as they are looking for extra employment or new employment. So that's where the stories come from. I don't think there's any hard and fact evidence out there that's saying suddenly there's 26% of Manchester United staff have walked out saying it's because of.
Well, people aren't going to be happy about it, are they? That's the kind of things that people have been accused of are going to cause distress to certain people. So that's probably why. But yeah, it's another bad news day for Manchester United, isn't it? Really, and of course Maguire, on duty with England, out of the confines of Manchester United.
Still brings them up, yeah.
Yeah, but he's out of the confines of the Manchester United press room. So, of course, that gives those journalists an opportunity to ask Harry Maguire questions he wouldn't normally be able to answer. And, of course, I think, can you compare Gareth Southgate to Ten Hag? That's obviously going to give them a couple of bylines on a particular issue that they wouldn't normally get a story on. So, good work by the journalists, I guess. They'll be sitting rubbing their hands and smiling with what they have managed to achieve this week.
I doubt Man United let Maguire sit too many media conferences at Man United the way he's not playing and stuff like that. So I guess at England where he's the England captain, and he's obviously, the forefront of what, England's all about, then of course the media are going to get the chance to speak to him, and, he gets to say what he wants, sort of thing, or gets to say, exactly what's on his mind. So, yeah, good on him for saying that he's not happy, obviously, with, not getting the games, but it just creates more issues for Man United. So, it's very, very interesting January coming up for Man United. It's going to be one of the biggest ones of our lifetime. We've always watched Man United as a dynasty, but there's a tough few months coming up for Man United. It's not going to get easier before it gets, quite a lot more harder. But we are closing in on news headlines, and obviously here on the Northeast Brekky Show, we have got news headlines coming for you. We've also got headlines from each of the clubs.
We'll do them after 8.
We have got
the club headlines
as well.
Have a look at your little finger, lads, and can you measure your
here we go.
finger?
We're back to picking noses again.
2.25 inches of a finger by Josh Werner was put into his right nostril to pick.
Man isn't 2 inches long.
I
am talking about my little finger.
Back off.
I am talking about my little finger.
He is the world record holder, lads.
What, deepest pick? Deepest pick.
Deepest pick. Yeah.
All this because it was International Referees Day yesterday. Come on.
I have a really bad gag reflex. I can't do it. I can't keep talking like this. It literally, you know what I mean? It's. I feel sick.
Come on, we've all had a good rifle at one point or another.
Well, after the news, we will get into your club headlines, ladies and gentlemen. On the Northeast Brekky Show, we have got headlines coming for you, club headlines coming up for you. We've got some news out of the Australian camp. Ange Postecoglou has come and dropped an absolute bomb on Australian football for us here in Australia today. Big news coming out from Ange. And also we have some breaking news coming out as well about one of your favourites in Gareth Southgate. Will Gareth Southgate be staying on as manager? Time will tell.
So Dave, do you know why?
Oh, here we
do
go.
You know why?
Here we go.
International Referees Day.
All right.
Is held on the 11th of October.
Because everybody loves referees.
Nope.
Because it was the first. Because in history, it was the day that we first had a referee refereeing a game.
Correct.
Yay! What a guess! What a guess! What? Give me the origin numbers for the lottery.
The origin of the celebration are not well known, but it is believed that the first ever game with a referee was played on the 11th of October, and that is why we celebrate on the day. Who was that referee? Was it Dave Roberts?
Well, I'm old, but I'm not that bloody old, mate.
Dave, quickly, in your eyes, who's the most famous referee ever?
In my eyes,
the googly eyes.
Collina.
Yes,
Collina.
Pierluigi Collina. That's in my eyes. He was my refereeing idol. But saying that, I'm going to stick with Collina.
Steve?
Yeah, exactly the same. Collina.
Same.
Yeah.
I'm going Mike Dean.
He's a good lad. Mike. I did officiate with him a couple of times. He's a good lad. But no, Collina was my icon. And there's that story about Roy Hodgson when he was in Italy. Who was Roy Hodgson managing in Italy? Who was he managing? Did he manage? Or was it a Champions League game? Where there was a decision made and Collina reversed the decision on the field. So he ran down the touchline. I'm sure it was a Serie A game. And basically knelt in front of him when he was standing in the dugout, because the dugouts were at a lower level than the pitch level, and explained why he'd overruled the decision, and then went back and restarted the game. And Hodgson said that's the best bit of refereeing he's ever seen, because he was about to start screaming blue murder because the decision had gone against him. But Collina had Inter Milan, it was when he was at when he was at Inter then. Yeah, I just like Collina. I've met him a couple of times. Worked with him at FIFA when I was at FIFA up until when I left at the end of March, beginning of April. Good guy, like him.
Yeah, I'm only stirring. It's actually Jared Gillett, so I'm the Aussie referee from the weekend. He's my favourite.
What can we say? And as the Mackhams leave in their droves across the northeast, they switch off the cat in their millions. We'll say it's news time. And just to make up for it, we had a whinge from Ted. Do you remember earlier in the week? Was it end of last week? Saying we were playing Chris Rea and we were playing Sam Ryder, and he wanted to hear something from Dave Stewart and the Eurythmics. We will do that next. on the North East Footy Brekky Show.
Clark,
My debut 1990 September, Bristol City away, to get that opportunity, what thousands of Geordies only dream of.
Hignett,
Playing against Chelsea and to score the first goal there is something that still lives with me now, and it's what most people will talk to me about.
Williams,
A first goal for Sunderland away at Leicester. It was a left foot volley. I didn't realise my left foot was for kicking the ball with as well. I thought it was just for standing up.
across the North East. It's the three legends.
Fridays at 6 on the Cat, the Reds and the Toon.
From Wickham to Whitley Bay, Stonygate to Shields, Doggy to Darlow Backlane. Steve and Rye, the North East Footy Breakfast.
Right across the northeast, the Red, the Toon and the Cat.
I do like it actually because it's from my era, boys. You know, we've got a Jock and a Mackem producing some decent music between them. So yeah, like it, Eurythmic Sweet Dreams. And while we're talking Mackems, fellas, we've got to take our hats off to Liam, the Borough Barber. In Eaglescliff on Teesside, who he did offer £4 discounts for Sunderland fans to go and get because he's a big Borough fan. Something to do with the weekend. Can't quite nail it, but I don't know what that was. But yeah, £4 discount for Sunderland fans to go and get a haircut in his shop on Teesside, providing they take a selfie standing next to his life-size Michael Carrick cardboard cutout. And we have had one through the door. He sent us a photograph yesterday of that very first selfie. So, yeah, hats off. Is
Well
that a
done,
phrase
son.
you can use with
Well
barbers?
done.
Hats off to the
Well
Mackems
done.
for accepting the cut price haircuts. So there you go.
Well done.
Yeah, it's a good shout. Good show. We should have got him back on, actually. We should have got Liam
I'm
back
actually
on.
due for a haircut myself. It's reminded me.
Are you going to fly all the way over to get a cut at the Borough
I
Barbers,
might have
mate?
to.
Yeah.
I might have to just have a photo with Michael Carrick as well.
Excuse me?
I might have to get a photo with Michael Carrick.
Oh,
as well.
photo. I thought you said something completely different there, mate. Sorry, I was on a completely different tangent to you. I'll clean the wax out of my ears. Yeah. I tell you what, guys, I don't know if you suffer this. Well, Steve won't, for obvious reasons, but one of the perils of this job, if you're wearing headphones with that headband that goes across the top of your head, is headphone hair. I've just run out there to get a glass of water before we do the second hour of the show, and there's a mirror there, and I look like half of Jedwood at the moment. It's sticking right up there. You'd think there was a thunderstorm overhead, but there you go. Anyway, who's starting the headlines?
Got to be Borough.
I can have a
Newcastle
go.
went first yesterday.
It's got to be Borough.
Yep.
Okay.
It's the Borough.
Borough it
Yep.
Go on.
Good morning, Middlesbrough fans. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all fantastic, safe and well on this fine Thursday morning. It's actually raining here, but I'm quite far
Beautiful
away, but I miss
here.
yous and I love yous. Middlesbrough headlines are, as of this, Sammy Silvera and Tom Glover, a bit of an Aussie feel to the skid off, have been inspired by Ange Postecoglou. That's right, the now Spurs manager visited the Socceroo's training camp yesterday. The two Aussie Borough men were roused by Ange as he greeted each player and gave a stirring speech to try and pump them up for their friendly on Friday night against the Poms. Ange had a lot to say, obviously being the previous Socceroo's manager. Ange said that he was looking at all the young players and faces and couldn't believe that how many of them were making a career for themselves in England. And he said, now that he's at the Spurs, don't you worry, he's going to continue the Australian takeover of the Premier League. So, there you go. Riley McGree has also travelled down to meet with the squad, albeit being out due to injury. Riley obviously came off late in the second half against Cardiff with a foot issue, and the full length of time is yet to be disclosed on how long Riley is out. But he has travelled down to meet with the Socceroos and will be watching the game from the sidelines. And football data experts have predicted the price of Hayden Hackney. The homegrown Borough star has taken headlines again as he returns to the England under-21s during this international break. And football data experts have predicted each of the current England under-21s current worth on the transfer market. And Hayden has been predicted to be currently, wait for it, Borough fans, currently worth £10.5 million, which will come as a shock to many Borough fans because it's highly likely it would take far more of that to prize Hackney away from the Borough. However, given that he has penned a new deal and improved even further, there's no doubt he'll cost a pretty significant fee to sign on his current trajectory. And finally, Borough fans, Carlton Palmer. Carlton Palmer has had a crack at the Borough, and he
doesn't
said that
like the Borough.
The $1.5 million option to make the deal for Sam Greenwood permanent is a sign that the club is learning from its past mistakes. However, he is unsure whether Borough should trigger the deal or not, suggesting that they should just wait until the end of the campaign to make that decision. Palmer said on Football League World that Middlesbrough do have the option to sign Sam Greenwood at the end of the season. And I think they've learned from their previous mistakes where they take players on loan from the other clubs. They give players a platform, they excel, then they have no chance of signing them. Case examples, Ryan Giles and Cameron Archer. And by putting an option in the option to sign the player for an agreed fee, they can now assess the player over a course of season. And if the player does well and there's agreement to buy already in place, it's a sign the club has turned a page in recruitment. So there you go.
That's what we said yesterday.
Yeah, having a little crack at the Middlesbrough recruitment strategy. But I think we were well ahead of you there, Carlton, because that's exactly what Dave said. We said this yesterday. So it's old news, Carlton. It's old news.
He was listening to the show.
Headlines.
He was listening to the show. That's what it was.
He was.
Yeah.
He's taken what we've said and you turned it into his own. So get your own content, Carlton. I'm on to you, mate.
Stevie
Here we
boy.
go then, Newcastle fans. Scottish coach John Carver has confirmed that Scotland are now looking at 2 more Newcastle United players to play for Steve Clarke's team. Tino Livramento and Harvey Barnes are on Carver's radar, and he will be hoping to persuade them, along with Elliot Anderson, to snub England. Ahead of our next Premier League game on Saturday, October the 21st, opponents Crystal Palace have updated their website confirming that the away allocation has sold out. Palace fan sites claim that the allocation was 1,700, meaning that the scope for Newcastle United to relocate the dividing line between home and away fans and offer further leases level 7 seats for resale to club members. It's unclear whether this has already taken place or not, but anybody looking for tickets might want to keep an eye on that section when checking the website. And police have voiced concerns over plans to build a Newcastle United fan zone at St James's Park. Plans for the Stack development in Strawberry Place were granted approval by Newcastle City Council last month, but the shipping container village has yet to clear another crucial hurdle. A hearing to decide whether to grant a licence for the major new venue to operate is now penciled in for next week, with the football club having to run into opposition from Northumbria Police, local councils and civic centre licensing officials over the proposal, so we'll keep our eyes on that. That's your Newcastle headlines for today.
Okay, on the Sunderland theme, the furore about Jack Clarke's January departure from the Stadium of Light is refusing to go away, with the Cron reporting the Black Cats' hands may be forced by a big offer to sell the 22-year-old in the January transfer window. Burnley tried to sign the 22-year-old in the summer, and now Brentford are reportedly very keen on making a move for the former Tottenham youngster. Clarke's been rewarded with a fine run of form, the winger scoring 7 goals in his last 12 appearances. Ticket details have been released for the next couple of Black Cats home games. Sunderland meet Birmingham City on Remembrance Day in the Remembrance Day game on Saturday the 11th of November to 12:30 kickoff. It's been categorised as a Category A fixture, with prices starting from 32 quid for adults, 29 quid for over 65s, 24 quid for under 22s and 14 quid for under 16s. And the following Stadium of Light clash with Huddersfield Town, the midweek game, Wednesday the 29th of November, 7:45 kickoff, is categorised as the same Cat A game. And Sunderland's women were victorious in their first Continental Tires League Cup game as they beat Sheffield United at the Impact Arena. 8 changes were made to the starting 11 that drew 1-1 with Birmingham City women at the weekend. Emily Scarr and Molly Roos equalised after United went ahead twice. Before half-time, Academy star Mary Corbin scored the winner on 66 minutes to cap off a successful night on the road. And that is your Sunderland headlines. Where are we going now, boys?
Well, we have got to talk a lot more football, lads, because it's been the first half of the show has been all being covered up by Stephen and picking his nose and coming all types of stuff. We need to get rid of that, and we need to focus in back on the football.
He's probably got another stat under to be revealed shortly.
He probably does. Get the mute button ready.
It's not on.
Keep us
It's
on
not
football.
on. Stop taking
It's
it.
not on. Yes.
It's not on. It's not on. Well, lads, Harry Kane has committed just over the past couple of days in the England camp that he's committed to representing England in 2028. He has said that he will be there for the Euros and obviously meeting with the Prime Minister and the Prime Minister suggesting and asking Harry, would he be here when England obviously will be hosting the Euros alongside Ireland for the Euro 2028. And Harry said, of course, I have dreams and aspirations to never give up my England cap, and I'll only be 34 at that stage, And so, of course, I will be here representing England at the Euros 2028. Lads, my question to you is, one, can you see a 34, 35-year-old Harry Kane leading the front line for England in 2028? Will you guys be that desperate? And will have Harry Kane returned to England by then, or will he still be at the likes of Bayern Munich?
I don't think he'll be representing England in that period, and there's something wrong with English football if he is. 34. I'm not being ageist here, but I just don't see him being the number 9 for England. Then there'll be a new manager, you would have thought, as well by then. So there's going to be someone coming who's going to make changes, and going to make changes and bring their new generation of strikers through. I mean, Southgate's already looking at potential new options. Callum Wilson's been in and around the England team. Ollie Watkins is in there now. Ivan Toney, after his betting scandal elapses, will surely be back in with a chance and back in contention. And who else will be hovering around the England setup by 2028? I mean, it's a long way away. It's it's 5 years away. Lots can happen between now and then. So my answer is it might be Harry Kane saying I'm committed to representing England, but is England committed to picking Harry Kane? I don't see that, and I just think, again, it's a press conference. He's being asked questions, and like we do on this show in an international break, you've got to find news to talk about, otherwise it'd be radio silence for 2 hours. So the journalists have a hard job to do. They've got to try and pick the bones out of a pretty dull 2 weeks, because there isn't much news to talk about. So getting Kane to say I'm committed to playing for England in 2028 is a good byline. It's a good story, and it gets people talking like us.
I think the answer is pretty simple. Will we have a better striker by then? If we haven't, he'll be around. If we have, he won't be. So, yeah. If he deserves to be, yes. If there's better options, then no. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Part two of your question. Do we think Harry Kane's going to return to England before that? I'd say yes. I think he's definitely destined for a return to the Premier League. That's clearly something that was going through his mind when he moved to Germany. The record, the Shearer record, and
how far is he behind it?
At least a season and a half's amount of goals. It was something like 45, 50 goals, wasn't it, behind? But it's easily beaten. But then is Harry Kane going to be able to play at that standard in the Premier League? He's gone to Germany. It's not as good as the Premier League. He's playing a slower form of football. He's still scoring goals, of course, but coming back to the Premier League, is he going to be Premier League fit? Where's he going to go? Is he going to go back to Spurs? Spurs, there was rumours of him having a buyback clause. That's been denied. We don't know the full ins and outs of the contract. If he goes back to Spurs, is it going to be the same? Nothing's guaranteed in life, and nothing's guaranteed in football. So I do think he'll come back to England, but I think you'd think his mind would be set on coming back and finishing his career where it started, at Spurs. But you never say never, and there could be a team that takes a gamble on him. There could be a team that thinks, well, we'll bring him in on a 2-year deal, and he's gonna sell a few shirts first and foremost, because Kane going to any club is going to sell a few shirts and the merch, etc. But also, he's going to score us some important goals in a run into a season, or to get us to where we want to be. So I think he will return to England, but I think his options will be limited. Put it that way. He's you look at the clubs. He's not going to go to Arsenal. He could go back to Spurs, Newcastle, depending on when he decides to come back. It could be a potential destination because of who he is, because of what he's achieved, because I don't think the record will be in Newcastle's mind if they were going to put in for him. And then, other than that, you're looking at the other usual suspects, aren't you? You're looking at your Manchester Uniteds.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll go to Manchester City, because Manchester City tried to sign him in the past. They balked at the £100 million figure, and then went out and spent £100 million on Jack Grealish. I don't think he's a Liverpool kind of player, and I don't think he would go to Liverpool. So I think Tottenham Hotspur Manchester United
Bring him back.
are possible teams that would bring Harry Kane back. Because let's face it, Manchester United just, if it was the current owners, if it was the Glazers, Manchester United just go out and sign players and then say to the manager, "We'll get on with it."
Exactly.
There doesn't seem to be any communication between Manchester United and the person who's in the dugout. So I think there's your two options. I think Spurs or Manchester United would be where Harry Kane would go. And how long will that be? I think he'll have 2 good years in Germany, and I think then he would have to think about coming back. I think if he extended his stay in Germany any longer than 2 years, I don't think he'd break the record. And a lot of people saying Haaland could break the record. He hasn't got off to a great start this season. There's no doubt the kid's class, but I don't think Haaland will stay in English football long enough. I think Haaland will move across to Italy. Or Spain. I think he'll end up at a Real Madrid or a Barca, or he'll end up at a bigger club.
Well, just for those that were asking and wanting to know about the stats as well, the stats as listeners out there wanting to know about how far is Harry Kane currently off. So currently the most amount of goals was obviously Alan Shearer with 260 Premier League goals, and Harry Kane is currently second at 213. So he's got a fair whack of chunk of goals still to get 47.
So I was right. It's a season and a half.
Yeah, it's a season and a half. So he'd want to give himself enough time to get 47 goals-ish to get anywhere near Shearer's record of 260 goals in the Prem. So Harry Kane currently on at Bayern Munich, but he's sitting on 213. But yeah, interesting. Dave, do you think Harry Kane will be back in England one day to try and chase that down?
I do think he'll come back. I think that's his next move. I don't think he's going to go anywhere else. I think England will be his destination. But the one question I've got to ask, we're saying it's a season and a half's worth of goals, but when he comes back, will he be firing as potently as he was when he left? Because he's going to be 2-3 years older. He's not a young kid anymore. Can he still perform? Yeah, and Steve, you make a good point. He's playing in a league where football is slow. It's not got the same intensity as the Premier League week in and week out. So I'd have to ask the question: could he still perform on a very regular week in week out basis as he was when he left? And I'm not sure. The answer to that would be yes. So I think Shearer's record's intact for a while yet.
And I will reiterate this, and I do this no matter what show I'm on, whether it's NUFC Matters, whether it's the Northeast Footy Brekky show, whether it's Talk TV, whatever I'm doing, I'll always remind you that the all-time top goal scorer in this country is Jimmy Greaves, and he has 357 goals. That's because life did actually start before the Premier League. Steve Bloomer is second with 314 goals. Dixie Dean, third, 310 goals. Gordon Hodgson, fourth, 288 goals. And in fifth place, Alan Shearer, 283 goals. So that's your top 5. And Harry Kane...
So they've taken, 23 goals off Shearer from Premier League days starting, I guess, so... That is your actual top 5. Shearer's on 208. Shearer's on 283. So obviously the Premier League
made his mark in the
Premier
League era, but they took 23 goals off Shearer for that. But so it is interesting. Top 10, we've got 2 because Hughie Gallagher scored 246 goals for Newcastle predominantly. So he's in the top 10. But if you've got to go back to 14th for another name that we'd all know, Ian Rush. He's on 232 goals. David Hurd's a surprising one, 15th with 222. And just trying to find somebody else. Tony Cottee, of course, we'll probably remember him best from West Ham and Everton. He's 18th with 214 goals. Harry Kane is way back in 19th on 213. So yeah, it's interesting that you've got to remember that history didn't just start with the Premier League, and I always laugh when they go on about Shearer's record, because yes, it is the Premier League record, but there was life before the Premier League, lads.
Well, it's interesting as well, just looking at the stats here, just to comment on what's... So you got Alan Shearer, obviously, for the Premier League. The stats obviously showing that he is top of the goal scoring side. But it's interesting here for me is the most amount of appearances in the Premier League currently held by Gareth Barry And lads, I will give you a point if you can get to the closest numerical number of how many appearances Gareth Barry has made in the Premier League.
I'll have to sit this out because I've just completed the NUFC Matters Tune Teasers quiz, and I'm the quiz master, and this was one of my this was one of my questions. This was one of my questions.
Okay, well, I'll pose a different one to you then. I'll pose a different one to you then.
It was 653, wasn't it?
It is correct. You're absolutely right. And who is the next closest current still playing player that could potentially take Gareth Barry's mantle?
James Milner.
Yep. 624 appearances James Milner is on in the Premier League, still currently obviously playing down at Brighton. Yes, but he's still got a long way to go, doesn't he? He's still got a 30-odd games to get anywhere near Gareth Barry. And in second is Ryan Giggs on 632. So your top three is Gareth Barry and Ryan Giggs on 632, then James Milner. But will James Milner ever catch that? That's an interesting one.
I think he will.
To watch there. Yeah,
he's at Brighton, isn't he? So he's getting game time at Brighton, and he doesn't look like he's slowing down.
He could play till he's 40, I reckon, James Milner. He just seems to find a way, doesn't he?
Well, maybe that's why Harry Kane thinks he can play to 34 and still be leading England. Then maybe footballers feel, with the advance in science, the advance in different routines and methods that they use, maybe they feel that they can play that little bit longer. Maybe we will see footballers playing longer and going on into their mid 30s and who knows it, early 40s in some positions. I mean, goalkeepers have been renowned for playing longer, haven't they?
They have, yeah. Goalkeepers definitely seem to be going on a lot longer these days. We're seeing them, even going close to 40s now. So, yeah, it is interesting to see. And maybe that is, maybe it is a sign. We're seeing Messi and Ronaldo, two of the greatest to ever play our game. Obviously, they're close to their 40s, Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi, and they're still playing at top level, I would argue. So, it's incredible to see now that we're not seeing the likes. I mean, we saw Eden Hazard retire at the age of 32, which kind of shocked everyone. But he, was without a club and he wasn't getting a game. But at the age of 32, is that considered young now for a retirement? Or is that still considered? Because when I was growing on, it was 32, 33 when you're about done, really. So it's incredible. Maybe we are seeing, players play on longer. But Steve, you touched on it during there as well. And it brings me on to the next point that I wanted to ask you, lads, about Gareth Southgate. You were talking about it just then before. And if we do see Harry Kane playing on in 2028, Gareth Southgate's not going to be the manager. So I wanted to ask you guys how long you actually think Gareth Southgate has got left in the manager hot seat of England. Is it likely that we will see a change of England manager this year, next year? Do you think he's given to the next set of Euros? Do you think there is a right time and a wrong time to get rid of Gareth? Is there anyone that is really ready to go to replace him? I just wanted to get your general thoughts as we look into Australia v England coming up this Friday night. And whether we'll see Gareth Southgate, in the long term future, or if it's a click and clock.
If the Socceroos win 9-0, Southgate will be out of his job. But anything less than that, he won't be. And we know that's not going to happen. Hang on, there's a pig flying across there, and I'm on the second floor across the window. Southgate will be there until the conclusion of the Euros, and I can't see anything changing from that. Who is next will be another question, but no, he'll not go before the Euros are out, unless, of course, he comes out with some stupid line like Glenn Hoddle saying, if you're disabled, it's all to do with, what was it, things you did in a previous life or something daft like that. But no, Southgate's a sensible guy. He's going to be there until the end of the Euros.
Yeah, I think the same. I think I've said that. I'm convinced he'll go at the end of this particular tournament. I think there'll be some kind of announcement to say that he's stepping down by mutual consent, and wishes the next person all the best, who will be Graham Potter. That's exactly who I think will come in.
You got it in early. You got it in early. Well done, mate.
Potter's the only man for the job. He's useless at club football now, so just take him, please, England. Leave Eddie Howe completely where he is. He's very happy there.
He's going.
I tell you what,
I'm telling you.
Dave, we better have some adverts because I'm going to start getting annoyed.
Normally it's because we've got to raise some money to pay you your wages, mate. But let's have some adverts because he's getting annoyed.
Let him cool off. Let him cool off.
I'm going to pick me nose.
Yeah, nice. We'll be right back across the Northeast on the Northeast Footy Brekky. I like Delamitri. Good job we haven't got Macca on this morning. He would have been going on about the Scots connections. And kiss this thing goodbye. Kiss this thing goodbye,
good song,
like rivalry, like your love of your football club, like the Sunderland fan did when he came down to the Borough for a £4 off haircut with Liam the barber in Eaglescliff. So
took advantage of it. Good photo with Michael Carrick as well. Got right up close to him. Loved it.
Good on him. Good on him for I mean, good on him for claiming the discounted haircut, but good on him for playing along in the spirit and the humour that was meant. So good to see.
Absolutely love it. Yeah. Well, we're into the last bit of the show, lads. We've been with you since 7 a.m. this morning. I hope you're all fantastic, safe and well for your Thursday. We are getting a little bit excited here. We got England versus Australia in one of the biggest and most intense friendlians you've ever seen.
You're getting excited.
Steve's getting up and about for it. He's ready to go. He said it's going to be one of the biggest games England's ever played in. Australia.
I'll be watching the last episode of Beckham, tuning in to the Jimmy Savile programme with Steve Coogan, doing everything I can to avoid watching it. I'll even watch Big Brother.
Australia have said if we do get up against England, there'll be a national holiday. For the whole of Australia, you'll remember the day that we beat England in a friendly.
Well, you've done it before.
We have. So it's one to watch, and we'll probably cover more of that tomorrow. But I did want to bring it up, lads, that we spoke about it yesterday about obviously the politics and the stuff that's going on around the world at the moment. Obviously, quite scary, quite severe actions happening over in Israel. And the FA have just come out. We spoke about yesterday about the lighting of the Wembley Arc for the game between England and Australia. The FA have come out and
has
said
a Middlesbrough shirt inside it.
Yep. They are unlikely. They are unlikely to light the Wembley Arc. It's been confirmed by the FA. The colours of the Israel flag because of fears of a backlash from some communities. So the UK government actually stepped in and had written a letter encouraging all governing bodies into sport to appropriately mark the attacks in Israel this week with shows of support for the victims. The government has not specifically asked the FA, though, to light the Wembley Arc, and it is believed now, breaking on here, that the FA will not be lighting the Wembley Arc, but rather than lighting the Arc, a message of peace and unity will be conveyed before the England face Australia in a friendly on Friday. I can confirm to you guys that the FA has been in touch with Football Australia to confirm there will be some sort of acknowledgement for the victims before kickoff. So just confirming to you here on the Northeast Brekky Show, the Wembley Arc will not be lit for the England v Australia game, but there will be some form of acknowledgement for the victims before kickoff. So lads, I think that's a good outcome, and obviously paying their respects as well. So I think it's good.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the right decision. I think it's the right decision, mate. We talked about it yesterday, so we'll not go too deep into it. But yeah, I think it's the right decision in the current climate, shall we say.
I think it's the wrong decision, but let's move on.
There we go. We're never always going to agree.
We're not. It could be sitting here for hours, couldn't we? On to some other news, lads. And I wanted to, and this is, we're going to have to be careful here, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm about to bring up one of Dave's almost... one of his ultimate loves in the music world. Dave and this musician go way back. Okay.
Oh, Dave not this again.
Dave and this man are so close and is so loved by each other that it's going to. So I need you all to sit down, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking about the one, the only, the 50 Cent.
Been to his house.
50 Cent and Dave.
I've been to his house.
50 Cent.
Seriously.
Have you actually?
Yeah, I
50
have.
Cent's house.
In Farmington,
Dave
Connecticut.
Roberts and 50 Cent.
Yeah.
Dave Roberts and 50 Cent. Like this, I'm telling you. He's from a pud. These two. Anyway, 50 Cent has agreed to sponsor Welsh football team AFC Rumney Girls Under 14 side. Can you believe it?
Good luck.
One of the players' dads worked with the rapper on a recent tour, and he cheekily asked if the star would sponsor the club, and he agreed. 50 Cent is now sponsoring and majority stakeholder for the AFC Rumney's Girls Under 14 squad, and helping pay for kits, gear, and obviously ground maintenance. 50 was happy to help out. I wanted to ask you, lads, is it just a bit of a light-hearted fun? I think 50's obviously quite well off. He's got a bit of money to spare.
Should see the size of his house. He bought Mike Tyson's house.
I've seen the size of other things that 50's got. I tell you, it's closer to $1. So it's all going very well for 50 Cent. That's for sure. Are Americans, lads, and not so much Americans in general, but I'm talking more celebrity types, starting to find a way into the UK through football teams? And I want to bring up the Ryan Reynolds. I want to bring up the lads that, that are coming and that are actors, actresses, musicians, whatever they may be, from America, finding some success in coming across to the UK, buying a football team, aka Ryan Reynolds, bringing them back up to the Prem in what will be a story for the ages, bringing across their Netflix crews, bringing across their documentary crews, and obviously changing the way, and obviously, creating a new movie script, if you will, for those in Hollywood of this UK footballing world. Is it going to continue to happen?
I've got to say, first and foremost, I really hope that rumour's true about Ryan Reynolds first looking at Hartlepool before he looked at Wrexham. I so want that to be true. But go on, Steve. I'll give you it.
We'll get him on the show.
Yeah, get him on. Get him on.
Well, I hope he's put more than 50 Cent in. I want to know where Dave met him.
36p.
Did you meet him in the club?
Was it his birthday? It was someone's birthday.
Popping them things.
Yeah. Here we go.
More likely a disco inferno, I think, with Dave.
Hey. Don't you slag off my boogie shoes.
Rumour has it that 50 Cent's song Birthday was about Dave Roberts' birthday, I've heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a song here.
Keep going, fellas. Keep going.
But yeah, look, it is interesting, isn't it? It's a great little story. It's a good little story. It's great for the club. I mean, I know just from my time managing a Sunday team that to get strip sponsorship and stuff. I used to create some great headlines with my football team. I had ex players coming along and playing 10 minutes up front and stuff like that, and get them in the strip, etc. for Felon Football Club, and that's what you've got to do. I remember writing to every Premier League manager and asking for a friendly, and then getting all the replies back from either the manager themselves or from their PAs. And we ran a story about that. I used to have a little Staffordshire Bull Terrier in one particular game called Nipper, which one of the lads let it off the lead and it ran onto the pitch. So the story in that game, well, the dog ran through, and the left back actually was quite worried about the dog running towards him. It wouldn't have bitten him, we scored a goal through this dog invading the pitch, and we got actual global publicity from this dog running on the pitch. It became a little bit exaggerated to the point where the dog scored the goal.
Wouldn't have counted under the laws of the game. It wouldn't have counted.
So I mean, we ended up on the Big Breakfast, BBC News. We ended up on we ended up all these things. But that publicity was brilliant for the football club because it got us money. It got us enough money to pay for strips, to pay for the next year's league fees, to get to hire the pitch that season. So 50 Cent going in and getting involved with a football club is great news. Fair play to the guy who asked that question, and it just shows you Shy Ben's getting out is what they say in the northeast. Certainly, it's a cheeky request, and he's come and done it. The Ryan Reynolds story is huge. It's a massive success. There's been loads of little spin-offs from that as well, and it's like in a different way. The Salford story has been a wonderful journey. It's been documented on Sky. There've been some great football documentaries on there. With the likes of Scholes and the Nevilles, and I've enjoyed that. So I think there should be more of that. That these people have got a lot of money, they've got a bit of wealth, and getting involved in these different little ventures is always good to see, because it is dreams come true stuff for the girls team at Rumney, and I hope they go on to do well. I hope they can maximise their profit out of this, and I hope they can go on and do really well. But I think Americans are following in Ryan Reynolds' footsteps. I think more people are looking at football clubs and looking at them as an investment. I'm not a huge supporter of American owners coming into football clubs, because we've seen some American owners who come in that haven't got the best intentions. But
are you talking more of like from a business point of view though there, or are you talking? So you're happy with like a celebrity and all that sort of to come in with investment, but not so much of a business sort of firm coming for a takeover sort of thing. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I don't think this is much.
Okay.
I think businessmen are coming in with an ulterior motive. I think certainly 50 Cent and Ryan Reynolds are two completely different stories. 50 Cent,
bit of a fun,
bunging them a few quid to get some strips, which is a great news story. I presume it'll be a one-off, and that'll be that. Ryan Reynolds has bought a football club with his partner, and that is a different angle. But
the money they'll have brought in from the Netflix docos would have certainly swelled the coffers, because there's some serious money in those docos now.
Ryan
all
Reynolds
of the stuff that he's done.
It's a different thing, though. It's different to Todd Bowley going in at Chelsea. You know, it's a completely different. That's a different mindset. That obviously, if Ryan Reynolds and the lads have success and move up the table, they'll have to run things differently. But it's a feel good factor story, and it's good for the football club. And you know, short term good for them. You know, long term, remains to be seen how Wrexham do. But it is a good story, lads, and I'm pleased we added that today, because it is. We need some good news.
I love it. I do. It is. It's good to see.
Bad news at the minute.
Yeah, not wrong. It's good to see. And you know what? The question is, I think, because obviously the Northeast Brekky show, we've popped off with Jeff Winter on Monday. We're obviously going game
popped off with Jeff Winter.
We popped off. We went viral. Okay, we went viral.
We did, yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's and we're going
to hit the front page of Nose Picking Weekly as well. Yeah, today.
Exactly.
Yep.
So which club are we going to buy? All right, lads. What club are we going to buy?
That's
we
a
need
point.
to start looking now.
Now that's a point, because we do get a lot of invitations for sponsorship and involvement in football clubs in the Northeast. Now there's a point. Which one are we going to adopt?
Who are we?
Are you going to be flying over, mate, on a regular basis?
I will.
Yeah.
I will 100% fly over for the Northeast Brekky Show football club. My goodness, I would definitely tip my hat and help the coffers there for sure. So. Yeah, we're going to have to choose a club very soon, the way we're headed. And in some Newcastle news for you, Steve, happy birthday today to Shola Amoebi. Obviously,
the Mackham Slayer.
Newcastle legends. It's his birthday today. And also the tickets for Newcastle United's UEFA Champions League group stage match against Borussia Dortmund will go on sale from 10 a.m. this morning, Newcastle fans. So if you are listening, tuning in, getting ready to go and watch Newcastle take on Borussia Dortmund, then tickets will be on sale from 10 a.m. this morning. But a big Northeast Brekky Show happy birthday to Shola Amoebi.
Yeah, happy birthday, Shola.
One of the big players, and it's funny because his brother had a bit of a rough run at Borough. Come in for 12 months, never played a single game.
Yeah, had a bit of a rough run. Full stop.
Yeah. So I never played a game, Steve.
Sammy
Amoebi. Yeah, never. Amoebi. I apologize. Amoebi. I corrected it. I got on it straight away. That Australian snuck in.
Amoebi.
Yeah.
But
talking about tickets going on for sale, isn't there a bit of a stink going on among fans trying in these lotteries for tickets, Steve, at Newcastle?
Yes, I saw this on Twitter.
Tonight,
wow.
It's a nightmare. We talked about tickets when we first launched this program. We were talking about tickets and about IDs and stuff like that. But now it seems that there's people who found a way around the ID system, or people who are willing to take a gamble and pay, £150-200 for a ticket. But they're taking a risk, because if they go to an away game and they end up in that small minority who get ID'd, they're not going to get in, and they'll have wasted £200 trying to get into a game. The ballot system. The ballot system and the membership system, there needs to be an explanation from the football club as to what exactly the numbers are here. We've been told there is potentially 30 to 40,000 members, people who bought the membership in the summer, and it's suggested, and I urge a caution on this. It's suggested, this isn't a fact, that there's only 4,000 tickets put up for grabs. Well, that's not amount. that means there's a lot of people bought memberships who genuinely will not win a ticket this year. That's wrong, lads. That is wrong.
How much does it cost? Membership?
I think it was something like £38. I don't know because I'm a season ticket holder. But ultimately, for someone to go into a membership, you could say, well, you pay your money, you take a chance. And there was nothing untoward about the way it was advertised. However, the demand was always going to be huge. And if there's 30,000 or 40,000 members, some people will never get a ballot. I have seen some people though, and this is the problem with social media. We see people going, that's my fourth ticket in a row. But then you're seeing other people who are going, I haven't had a ticket yet. This is a waste of time. I saw one guy on Twitter who just said, I'm cancelling my membership. I'm not going to bother with it, and I'm just going to basically stay in my house, invite my friends round, get the tinnies in, put some nice food on, and put some nice tunes on, and I'm going to have a good time. I'm not going to bother going to the game anymore, and that's because he's just not got a chance in the lottery.
Fed up,
and there's suggestions, and again I say suggestions. This isn't a fact. The suggestions that it might be tiered. We know that we do know that corporates will get some tickets for free. So because of the club going at such a fast pace and growing at such a fast pace and achieving Champions League at the first time of asking after surviving relegation, then there's a demand now that hasn't been seen since the days of Keegan in the 90s, and this is the problem because the stadium only holds 52,300 plus. Then you've got this situation developing now where the ground needs to be extended. That won't happen overnight, so desperation on behalf of Newcastle fans sees them all clamouring for memberships, and it leaves a sour taste in the mouth. But communication's been good on everything from the club. They need to get the communication right on this, because this, as some people have said to me, the club have got lots of things right. This is the first thing they've got wrong. They need to get it right. Ticketing is very, very important, and people will accept not getting a ticket for a game if the playing field is level. But if the playing field is slightly uphill on one side and downhill on the other side, like Newcastle United's pitch, then people will complain. People will complain. They won't be happy. So get it. They need to get it right.
You've spoken a lot, Steve. You've spoken a lot about obviously football hooliganism and stuff like that. Is it a way to control that as well? Is it a way where they kind of know? I mean, you go into the ballot, but I mean, I'm sure there's someone sitting there, and I mean, I'm just putting two and two together here. I'm call me dumb if you want, but I'm sure there's someone sitting there saying, "Hang on, we know that this mob's going to come in, get on the beers, get on the pints, cause a bit of ruckus, but we know this family, they're a corporate business, blah 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 blah." And then the ballot goes a certain way, or is it literally just down to randomness? This is the gentrification
of the game. This is what they're trying to do. I think you've hit the nail on the head. I think they're trying to gentrify the game. Is this not just
conjecture? Is this not conspiracy theory number 9,723?
Well, that's what it could be. That's what I'm bringing it up. Yeah.
No, I just don't think they don't want the drunks and the normal football fan that we've had for decades going to the game anymore. They would love to have a corporate atmosphere at St James's Park. I think there are certain people, and this isn't employees, this is fans who are speaking to the club, who have the club's ear, who are urging the club to go down a particular route. And I do think that they would love to be sitting in a ground very much like an American football ground, where it's all families, they're all sipping Coke and eating popcorn and sitting back, and the camera's zooming onto people in the crowd at half time and all of that kind of stuff. I think they would love that. I'm afraid that's not football in this country. It is still the working class. It is still the working class man's game, and I just think that they're going down the wrong avenue, because ultimately those people are the people who kept the game alive. Football fans who travel thousands of miles are the fans that have kept this game alive, and to suddenly take the game away from them, I think is foolhardy.
He's here.
Good morning, gents.
Oh, Daz.
Hey, Dazzy.
How we doing?
Have you picked your nose this morning, Daz?
Well, in light of you, Steve, I thought I'd sing you a little song. It's called I thought my nose was bleeding, but it's not. I'm sorry. How are we doing, guys?
The nonsense normally comes after 9. Come on.
Any more of that, Daz, and I'm going to go on. I'm going to go on strike, and I'm going to pick it.
How the hell did we get nose picking into this program?
I don't know.
That was me, wasn't it?
Was it you, Dave?
I asked that stupid question, is there a National Nose Picking Day? Oh, God.
It's because you fit. No, it's because you forgot National Referees Day. That's how I started it.
Well, I told you it was my fault. I've accepted it, fellas. No need to, hang, draw and quarter me.
I think the funniest thing was Steve asking if Dave was that first referee in that first game.
Thanks, Daz. I'd forgotten that one. Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
Daz, we figured out that Dave and 50 Cent are like brothers, mate.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
been to his house and everything.
We're like that.
They are literally best buds.
Well,
we've got no hope.
I'm hoping there's some off-air stories to tell on that one, because that's intriguing.
As he's known in the UK, 33p.
Or in Australia, $50, because our exchange rate is terrible. It is so bad.
Yeah, it's tanked, doesn't it, mate? Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, indeed. Well, I think we've done it again, fellas. We're just about out of time. Yeah, it's getting closer. It's getting closer to football coming, but not quite there yet.
Yep.
Well, I suppose Friday night, tomorrow night, there's a small matter of some third world country team playing England or something. I can't remember.
Australia earning another day off. That's what we're going for tomorrow. It's the playoff for the day off. That's what I'm calling it.
Well, I'm telling you, mate, because we love you on Teesside, we are going to live. We're gonna stream your watch along. But it does come with a rider. It does come with a rider that Borough fans who are listening to the Red, it will be slightly, ever so slightly Aussie bias.
Just a tinge. But there's going to be Borough bias as well, because it's going to be Sammy Silveira, Tom Glover representing the Socceroos out there as well. But there will be a little bit of bias towards the Socceroos. My Aussianism might come out a little bit.
And Steve, for you and your mates listening to the tune, and for Ted and the mates listening to the cat, it won't be on there. We will spare you the Aussie bias across the rest of the Northeast. Fellas,
Steve will be tuning in.
Brilliant. Out of time. Tomorrow morning, do it all over again. Catch you then. Daz is next.
Have a lovely day.
See ya.
Have a good day.
From Yarm to Yibby, Harrington to Horsley Hill, Swarwell to Silverlink. Steve and Rye, the Northeast Footy Breakfast.
Right across the